Okay, gentlemen, I'd like to submit before you this option. Imagine the Rage Crew does New Orleans, and we get a Rage house right in the French Quarter. It'd be amazing and beautiful, just like Phil's mom. New Orleans is one of those places with so many hidden gems, so much wonderful food, drink, nightlife, culture, and history, all wrapped into such a dense area. I've never been, but I've heard it's amazing, and I think it'd be the perfect mixture of fun and liveliness, and some time for us to relax and chill like the bros that we are. As you can see, I want us to go May 31st, May 27th to the 31st. This is a downtime in terms of big events in the city, so the pricing and sketchiness will be at a minimum. Also, I've heard many people say they wouldn't want to do more than 3 to 4 days, according to Facebook, and New Orleans is perfect for this time window. So everyone could fly out on Wednesday, and we'd stay for part of Wednesday, then all of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, then go home on Sunday. Now follow along as I take you through this magical adventure that is our Rage Crew trip into the Cajun Creole Bayou marshlands that is New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay, so first of all, why should we go to New Orleans over the other places? I've got one good reason for you all. Food! New Orleans has some of the most unique and delicious authentic food you'll ever have. We've got crawfish, which is amazingly delicious in season, po' boys, jambalaya, gumbo, and these are just the iconic Cajun-style, authentic New Orleans foods that I can think of. I know there are a ton of excellent restaurants in the French Quarter beyond this stuff, so if you aren't a huge fan of Cajun, don't fret. There are plenty of tasty options for you. So sure, we all love food, but being the Rage Crew, I should know my audience and present accordingly. What's the real reason you should choose New Orleans over the other cities? The dranks. Yes, I said dranks with an A. New Orleans is one of the few places in America where you can get to-go cups from a bar and walk onto the streets with drinks in your hand. Let me repeat, get to-go cups and walk out onto the streets with drinks in your hand. It's amazingly alcohol tolerant, so even someone like me who's a police magnet will probably be fine in that regard. Okay, kinds of drinks. First up, the Hurricane. This is a famous New Orleans beverage, and it's delicious. It's got rum, fruit juice, and grenadine. If we go to New Orleans, we have to have hurricanes. It's like going to Bloomington and not getting a Long Island at KOK. Here's another local favorite, the Creole Bloody Mary. A Bloody Mary with some extra seasoning and juices thrown in there to give it a Louisiana kick. Now don't worry about the shrimp garnish here, okay? If you're freaked out by that hanging over the side, then that's bothering you. You don't have to worry, it's not part of the drink normally. But I think you can possibly get it at some of them. Next you have the iconic mint julep. Not just a staple of the Kentucky Derby turtle, the mint julep is also a New Orleans favorite, so you and Cravens will be right at home having one of these. Now this is one of my personal favorites that I've heard about and looked up. It's called the hand grenade, the nickname for Craven's mom, but also the name of this extremely alcoholic beverage. The hand grenade is the Hairy Bears of New Orleans drinks. This poison, served in its iconic long green plastic glass, is 1 shot of gin, 1 shot of grain alcohol, 1 shot of melon liqueur, 1 shot of rum, and 1 shot of vodka. Truly an unwieldy beast and apparently quite expensive, but something tells me several of us will be having at least one of these on the trip. And finally, there's this place, the old Absinthe House. Now absinthe has been illegal for many years in the United States, but they still serve as an Americanized version of absinthe now, so it might be worth trying. Alright, now we all love to drink and eat, but what are some things that we can actually do in New Orleans, you might be asking? Well, I'm glad you asked. Culture. It's everywhere in New Orleans. First of all, we've got Bourbon Street, a magical street in the French Quarter with tons of amazing restaurants and bars and clubs. We'll be spending a lot of time in the streets hopping around different local establishments. It's only a few minutes from the house we'll be staying in as well. Apparently there's just music all over the place, guys, playing the trumpet and trombones, and this is a place where you just walk around and you're going to be entertained. Next there's the Hurrah Casino in downtown New Orleans. This is less than a 20-minute walk from the house we'll be staying at, so it's a nice destination for us to be at while we're there. There are also just a ton of beautiful sights around the city for us to walk around and see when we're recovering with our hangovers. Jackson Square Park, which is pictured, City Park, the Mississippi River, tons of great places in the French Quarter for us just to go and look around and see. Now speaking of gambling, there's also the famous New Orleans Fairgrounds, only a half-hour trolley ride away from our house, and a place we could go one afternoon to do some horse betting. Phil, I'm looking at you. And of course, What would New Orleans be without the world-famous music clubs? There's jazz clubs, blues clubs, dance clubs, turkey clubs, all kinds of great music and club atmosphere for us to experience. Now, being the historic place that New Orleans is, it has all different kinds of tours. They have haunted tours, vampire tours, cemetery tours, pub crawls, crawling tours, touring crawls. Okay, those last two aren't true. This place is riddled with haunted history and voodoo, so I'm sure it will be really interesting for us to do at least one of these while we're there at least once. And last, and most certainly not least, are the famous, or should I say, infamous burlesque and cabaret shows, strip clubs, New Orleans style. And I have a feeling we'll be going to one of these at least once that weekend. Okay, so let's get a little organized here. This is what I have as a rough outline for an itinerary for the week. On Wednesday, we'll be arriving at the airport at various times of the day. I figure that day will be a getting organized day. We'll arrive in the city, check into the house, which I'll get to in a minute, meet up with everyone, and we'll start to arrive. I figure we'll go out and we'll explore the French Quarter at that point while we're there. Oops, hold on a second, guys. Mess this up. Okay. So we'll go out and explore the French Quarter for that first day while we're there. Just kind of get acquainted. But I have a feeling, we might even just rage at the house while we're there because I have a feeling we're going to get pretty drunk that first night in celebration of our meetup, and nothing big is really necessary anyway. So on Thursday we'll go out and we'll actually explore the French Quarter thoroughly during the day, maybe have some of those famous Bloody Marys or mimosas for brunch, have some New Orleans style lunch, check out some of the parks and historical sites, have some good dinner at a local hotspot, and then that night we can go check out the clubs and bar hop around the Bourbon Street area in the French Quarter. I figured Thursday would be our day to really thoroughly enjoy the area of the French Quarter and Bourbon Street just all day. Alright, now Friday, I thought we could spend the day going out to the casino, hurrah, which like I said, is only 20 minutes away from the house we'll be staying at. It's also right by the Mississippi River. So we can just hang out by the Mississippi River that afternoon. It's on the very kind of edge of the French Quarter. Friday night would be a great time to perhaps go to one of those tours we were talking about, and then go check out one of those world-famous cabaret and burlesque shows with the half-naked women. So Saturday we'll be pretty well versed in the French Quarter, I would think, by then, and that area around our house by that point. So I thought it'd be a good day to take a trolley over to the fairgrounds and do some horse betting. Now this is only a 30-minute trolley ride, and we have lunch. We can have lunch over there, explore around the track a little bit. Saturday night would be our last night, so I thought we could go back to the house and decide where we would want to go before we leave. Maybe there's a great bar we liked, or a club. Maybe there's places we still want to hit up. Maybe we want to go see more titties at the strip club. Who knows? But that night is pretty open. And then, of course, Sunday we go home in a hungover stupor questioning our sanity. Now, I think we'll be spending most of our time in the French Quarter as it's the safest area and the touristy spot. I've spoken with people who have been to New Orleans before, and it's a great place to go visit and party, but it can be extremely dangerous if you get off the beaten path and are unfamiliar with the territory. That's why most of our activities center around the French Quarter. But like I said, this is just a rough outline. We may end up totally changing our plans for these days, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what the city is like and what are some things that it offers that we can do. So like I said previously, we'll be staying in a house during our stay, and we'll be staying in the French Quarter, which is the touristy safe area like I also mentioned. Just to give some perspective, here's a zoom in of kind of where we'll be. So obviously we'll be in New Orleans, Louisiana, and as you can see, it's actually a good thing we're taking this trip soon because thanks to Al Gore global warming, Louisiana's southeastern shore is literally disappearing, including New Orleans someday actually. Anywho, so then here's a close-up of New Orleans. And as you can see, it's a really large city and there's a lot to do, but we're going to be mostly in this area right here, which is the French Quarter and the tourist area. Like I said, this is a very big spot, the French Quarter. It's huge. And I'm sure we'll go out to some other places, but this is where going to be kind of our main spot. And it's also where our house is. And here is the house, so it's kind of zoomed in on the French Quarter, and this is like right kind of on the edge of it. And as you can see, there's the Jackson Square here, this is the Mississippi River, just a walk here, and Bourbon Street's one right here, I believe. This is Bourbon Street. It's not marked, but that's it. So it's going to be a nice little penthouse right on the edge of the French Quarter. Now, I've done a ton of research here, and I've looked on hotels.com, priceline.com, kayak.com, expedia.com, homeaway.com, and airbnb.com. No wonder there was a .com bubble. Anyway, this place gives us the most bang for our buck in the French Quarter. I didn't want us to get a hotel or house too far outside the French Quarter because, like I've said 100 times, this is where all the fun stuff will be, and this is where we want to spend most of our time. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop the video because there's a 10-minute time limit and I'm about to reach that, and I'll make another one real fast to finish up and show you guys the rest of the house there.